Hello everybody, welcome to IB Tutors, Chase here, and today, or in this video, I'm going to go over circles. I'm also going to be going over some angles that would be in circles, and some formulas such as measuring an arc's length and the area of a sector. But before I do that, I would like to go over some very important vocabulary terms that you would need to know for the upcoming EOC. Now, the first one is the center, which is the gold dot in the middle of the circle, or the gold point, should I say, to be more in geometry terms. And the circle is actually named after the letter of the center. And then the radius, which is in green, is the distance or a line segment that goes from any point on the circle to the center. And then the radius is half of the diameter, which is in pink. And it's actually the distance from one endpoint to another, but it does go through the center. And that actually brings us to chords, which is in blue. And it's basically the distance from one point on the circle to another. And if it runs to the center, it's the diameter. And similar to chords are secants, which instead of line segments are lines that go through 2 points on the circle. Or 2 points on the circle. And then the last vocab term will be the tangent, which is in orange, and it only goes through 1 point on the circle. And it is, again, in yellow. And right now, I'm going to erase all of this, so hopefully you know it right now. And I'm going to go over some basic formulas. This isn't finding the sector or an arc length or anything like that. It's formulas like the area and the circumference formulas. And I'm going to write them on the screen right now. So, kicking it off with circumference. Sorry about that little thing with my screen. Is going to be in C is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. And it can also be pi times the diameter, since, as you know, the radius is half of the diameter. And then for area, it's going to be in the form A is equal to pi r squared. And that will be your area of the circle. And before going on to the measure of the arc length, I'd like to go over the standard form of the equation of a circle, and that will be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And the point HK is the center, and R, as you probably know, is the radius. And there is a way to get to this form by factoring. If you have a value like 4x in front of it, or like after the x squared, like x squared plus 4x would be like the first part. You would have to do 4 divided by 2 and then square it. So that would equal 4. So you would add that there and then add that to the other side of the equation. Let's just say it's that. And then there would also be some y stuff over here. Like, I'm just putting those as random values. And that would basically be how you factor to get to the standard form. And now the time has come for the last formulas and equations that are needed for circles. And the first one is measuring arcs. So the equation for measuring arcs, which would actually be, I should have put this on the circle, would be at x, y, I'm just going to call it xy for now. And the equation for it would be xy, not 4y, is equal to 2 pi r, basically the circumference, times measure of xy, the measure of the arc, which would actually equal the central angle, which we'll get to in a second, divided by 360 degrees. Let me make that a little clearer for you guys. That would be 2 pi r times the measure of xy, again equal to the central angle, which I'm drawing right now. And this would be the center, the point in the circle, divided by 360. And on the other side of the page, I'm going to put area of sectors. And this would be this entire shaded in part that consists of a central angle. And the formula for this would be xy is equal to pi r squared, because it's dealing with a section of the circle, and it would be the measure of the central angle over 360 degrees. And that would basically be how you find sectors and how you measure arcs. And the last things that I want to go over with you are angles. And I will do that after I get some of this off of the screen. I'll draw a new circle, apparently in blue. And the first one that I'm going to do is central angles. And basically, the measure of the, let's say the measure of this arc is 138 degrees. And just to be clear, it's not to scale, we're just assuming. for central angles, it would be equal to the intersecting arc. So the central angle is equal to that intersecting arc. That would be the 138. So this angle would equal 138 degrees as well. Now, moving on to inscribed angles. And I am drawing an inscribed angle. This would actually be made up of two chords that intersect at an endpoint. And this and the inscribed angles will be equal to 1/2 of the intersecting arc. And that would be this. Assume it's 63 degrees. This would be 31.5 degrees. And finally, I'm gonna go over what I call exterior angles, even though it is probably called something else. And actually, this one might call for some color coding. So I'll put that one as green, and this one as red. So the exterior angles are going to be equal to 1/2 of the second arc, which is in green, minus the arc closest to it, which is in red. And the color coding will basically be showing you which one it's corresponding to. And this will be the end of circles, and I will see you in the next video.